why do English bands sing with American accents, and how do they do that?
I actually think it's a thing of that a lot of artists in America are you know, some of the biggest artists in the world. So like with the stuff that we hear on the radio, and do you know what I mean? It's the way you put things across. But I don't think you can really sing in a British accent. I think it's...
Listen, there's no sugarcoating it. British artists for the longest time have had a problem with their accents in their music. I am so fucking tired. It's long been a fairly under-addressed issue in music because, of course, if new music bangs, why complain? But it's always been the most jarring thing to hear a song from an artist I like, and then I hear their voice and they sound like they come from the cast of Shameless. Not that one. One Direction instantly comes to mind when I think of this phenomenon. What gets to me is the fact that they not only sang American, but they also looked American. Yeah, I don't really understand it either. It's weird to explain, especially because I wouldn't think of Americans as being inherently more attractive than British people, but I don't know, they just had that fucking High School Musical ass look. It was so jarring hearing them use an English accent. On that topic, bro, Lewis Capaldi has got to be the biggest catfish I've ever heard in the music industry. Tell me why. I used to hear this majestic American voice in one of his songs I used to listen to a lot. It was that super popular one. Then come 3 years later, yes, 3 years, it wasn't until I was 16 I discovered this. I find this nigga speaking with a Scottish accent. What? A Scottish accent?
So I use pseudonyms. Oh yeah. Pseudonyms, which means fake name. Is something I only learned this year. So yeah, I use two pseudonyms usually. One in Scotland. If you go for a shite, you go for a jobby. That's what it means. So one of them I use is Anita Jobby.
I was genuinely shocked. Charlie XCX has to be another one. This example really shocked me because I remember maybe 2 songs from her, Boom Clap and Fancy with Iggy Azalea, which, don't you worry, you sit your ass down and wait in the corridor, I'll get to you soon. I had no idea she was British, but I mean, low-key, I'm actually kind of all for it. Point is, British lads and birds are singing in the freedom accent, and it's really baffling to me why this is. At one point, I was convinced it's just because the British accent wasn't built for singing. But then I realized we have Ed Sheeran and many other artists in the past who have had no problem with that accent in their music, so I don't know what's up with you guys. A little bit of context, the story behind this video begins with KSI, because of course it does. One of my mates sent me a TikTok of KSI promoting one of his new songs at the time. Don't ask the name because I don't know, but I made a TikTok about it. It goes like this.
Okay, $1 million smile shit, baby, that's the brand. Go on, that's your mom, yeah, she know who I am. Money so obsessed, like, she's my biggest fan. Sitting at the top playing.
This was especially jarring to me, not just because he was using an American accent, and a bad one at that. And not just because it sounded like shit, see I knew that it was a flute, but because it was a rap song. This was a terrible moment for me because this fundamentally went against hip hop as an art form. Those uninitiated with it probably won't know, but hip hop has always had an aura of authenticity with its artists. Rappers are known for keeping it real, and those around them who aren't real aren't taken seriously by the hip hop world, or at least that's how it was. There once existed a group in the hip hop world called the Gatekeepers. I don't want to go too deep. You should watch this video if you want to know more about the general beginnings and history of hip hop and gatekeepers. But watch this first. They used to have power in the age before you could just upload your music to the internet, and they controlled who got to have a chance at getting signed and becoming a hip hop megastar and who didn't. The barrier to entry was high because of these niggas, but you know, it wasn't always effective because, you know, they worked for corporations and they were all capitalists, so they really cared heavily about that bag. But at the end of the day, they were good at what they did, and one thing they looked for the most was authenticity. If you weren't of hip hop culture, then you better believe you were going home empty-handed. However, when Kanye West came onto the scene, and by the time Drake had become a truly big hit in America, the gatekeepers lost all their power. But the idea of authenticity was prevailing. Rappers who were found out to not be of hip hop culture, like Tyga and Drake, were jokes in hip hop, but because they were money makers, they still stayed in hip hop. But moreover, by this point in history, the culture changed. Rappers like Drake and Tyga were not really of hip hop, but were huge successes, especially among white fans. So realistically, even if they wanted to remove them from hip hop, they couldn't. They became too big, and anyone who could have done something about it had lost the power to do so. Now, anyone who might have watched that video and people who know about hip hop could argue and easily make some point about how realness in hip hop has never been 100% real, or how the gatekeepers themselves weren't exactly benevolent and were realistically protecting their own pockets more than anything else, which I 100% agree on. But they still had a significant place in hip hop, and all things considered were pretty good at what they did at the time. So why do I even bring this up? Because this nigga took that and threw it in the bin when he made this YouTuber ass song. The worst part is, the American accent doesn't even sound good. It is genuinely the most forced American accent I've ever heard. Why does he sound like that? He didn't even try. You are more likely to pull the baddest bitch in your work or school than KSI is to release a good track. So give it a shot, king, or queen, or monarch. You'll never make a good dish if you don't cook. KSI, just stop making music, nigga. Please! Please! I can't take it anymore! I hate to say this because people pursuing other creative endeavors shouldn't be shunned, because everyone starts somewhere and people generally improve over time. But KSI, please just stick to boxing, my nigga. Or that whack ass drink, bro. This ain't it. If bro keeps this up any longer, he's gonna have a career like that. Oh! Slightly off topic. Highly off topic. But recently I heard about the UK-US beef going on, led by Skepta and Joyner Lucas. Skepta kicked it off by saying that UK rappers are better than US rappers, and I just want to say, I'm sorry to all my British rap lovers, but that's straight bullshit, bro. The UK does not have a better rap scene than the US. Bro, our rap scene is just polluted with drill, Central C, and D-Block Europe. Nigga, these are the top artists of the US. And these are the top artists of the UK. Who do we have that compares to the US's artists? Who is our Kendrick Lamar? We have a Drake. It seems that's the best we can do. The best UK artist I can think of would be Dave, who I would equate more to J. Cole. Oh, and don't even try to talk about Drake agreeing with Skepta. Because of course Drake wouldn't fuck with America, considering what happened to him when he had his own clash with an American artist. It's not even close. And it's painful because I don't want to be worse than America. But we are, because everyone's doing drill and using the most egregious autotune in the West. It's not like we have bad rappers or bad music, but everyone over here just loves the slop. So naturally there are less artists who are willing to actually fucking try. I mean, remember when Central C released that god-awful song, Obsessed With You? And everyone and their mums started using Pink Panther's instrumentals and other pop songs in their music to try cashing on the trend? Genuinely the worst period of British music of all time. It's a good thing Skepta's going up against Joyner Lucas. Yeah, so KSI, just so you know, when Skepta and Drake talk about UK rappers being better than US rappers, they ain't talking about you, nigga. Get out that booth! It'd be a lie to make out like only Britain has this problem. Australian artists have also had this problem, like the famously shocking Iggy Azalea. I've never been more shocked at an accent revealed than with this woman. Had my jaw on the floor, because again, she looked American. I don't really get it either, man, just go with it. I guess because hip-hop is a very distinctly black art form, and let's be real, out of America, Britain and Australia, there ain't no melanin in kangaroo land, bro. Unless you're Aboriginal, of course. There wasn't a hip-hop scene, and there wasn't really a way to pioneer your own rap scene in a country without hip-hop. I mean, it hasn't stopped some countries, but you know. But as well as that, I don't think there was ever really any sort of desire to become a legendary Australian rapper that the use of the land down under will remember for generations. And that leads me to why this phenomenon is so common in non-American artists. But before I continue, let me show you a video of Iggy Azalea rapping over a Kendrick Lamar song for absolutely no reason whatsoever.
Tire marks, finish line with the fire marks. When it really starts, I'm a runaway slave. Master.
Marketability. Americans love themselves. They're straight up narcissistic with it. They love being American even though they really shouldn't. And so naturally loving yourself so much that you believe you're the best country that ever existed also leads you to not being too fond of foreign shit. Unless it's Japanese, of course. America is also really fucking rich. So of course you want to succeed over there. Market pressure makes it that in order to really make it big, you've got to appeal to the American masses, and most often that is done by using their own accent. And because everywhere else is forced to listen to them, so the rest of the world probably won't care either. I mean, who cares if you're actually Scottish? As long as you don't sound weird, we'll give you all the money and praise you could ever want. It's sad how non-American English-speaking artists feel like they're forced to sound like the gunslingers in order to access success. But it's also sad because many just don't try. But don't get me wrong, I get it. Anything for the bag. And if I was in their situation, I might have done it too. At least to begin with. I hope that as time goes on and America loses more of its clout, that non-US singers can feel more comfortable singing in their actual accents versus the one that will make them the most money and make people feel the most comfortable. But in the case of all the British rappers, including you, yes, you, this shit is just unforgivable. KSI, you better fix up now, and all you other British rappers need to step away from drill and step it the fuck up, nigga. Damn!